Good afternoon. Monday the 17th of August. First of all, I'd like to apologise for not running a series last week. Moira, myself and a few other councillors, Councillor Chong, Bennett and some staff attended the funeral of one Michael Paul Eckdale. Very moving event that was, wasn't it, ladies and gentlemen?
Yeah, it's huge.
Mike's been a huge supporter of New Plymouth and a lot of things around New Plymouth, but in particular businesses in the CBD for a number of years, and his death saddened us greatly, along with the family. So yeah, it was pretty important, given Mike's contribution to town, that we gave some respect and passed on our feelings to the family. I guess part of what Mike was quite supportive of was something that's coming before us shortly.
Which thing?
The dogs in town. Dogs in town.
You know, Mike was passionate about making sure that we could get dogs back in the city. So I think that, so it's going out for consultation next week?
Yeah, it is, isn't it? It's gone out?
Yep, I think it's the end of the week it goes out.
So that'll be coming back before council in a month or so.
So people need to have their say.
Do you have a time on that?
And I think it's out for consultation for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, yep. So that'll probably come back in the September round.
Do the people know there's a private dog park out there too?
Where's that? Private dog park?
Private dog park, you pay for like half.
Was that Mania? The one in Mania?
I'm not sure. I did read about it.
Okay.
This isn't about the dog parks at this point, though. It's about allowing dogs back into the middle of town. So
yeah, last week was about Mike, actually. He's done some great stuff in town.
Yep.
The Eckdale family over the years.
But on that note with dog parks, I think I've said this before, like Tianui, which is fantastic. I mean, it's a historical cemetery, it's a garden, and it's also an off-leash dog park. And I think, I'm not sure that I like telling people that because it's such a lovely place to go, but there are a lot of people up there with their dogs, and they're all very social. And so there is an opportunity in town, apart from the beaches.
We've got 14 questions this week, Tony.
Yep, some of them are combined.
Combined. So the first one we got here is around rates and council spending. How can council claim there's a rates gap when rates are still significantly going up, and what is the true percentage increase? So a question here from Marcus: how can you say there's a rate gap on our bills still going up higher than a mortgage payment? There is no legal requirement for a rates cap as such under the new legislation yet. That doesn't kick in till 2028, and they actually haven't passed that through Parliament yet. So what we did as an incoming council is we voluntarily went to reduce our rates down from the 10.5% increase that was in the plan, and we got it down to 4.9% more rates this year than last year. Some of the confusion has been around the comms. Turns out we could have done the comms a whole lot better. People automatically thought they were going to get a 4.9% increase on their particular property. Unfortunately, that's not how the system works, and it is quite complex to explain that. But that doesn't mean to say we can't get it better. So we've had a bit of a meeting with some people last week, some internal staff and some external stakeholder groups, and we're going to work through how we can get those communications clearer so people can understand what the effect might be for their particular property. Although I temper that with, I don't think you can actually give one answer that covers 37,000 properties across the district, and that's part of the problem. In saying that, the rates didn't go up as much as they were supposed to. That's the short version of that. I know some people might not feel that, but that's actually what happened. The other part of this question we have here is from Ian. It was actually a good question, Ian. You piqued my thought process a bit. With a 4.9% rate increase and around 11 million coming from the PIF, what is the actual percentage our rates are going up? That's actually a good... One of the things I'd just say is that in council's revenue, the PIF fund has subsidised rates for a very long time. There's been some argument and discussions at council as to whether that's the right thing to do with that, but that was what was set up to do. Right back when that Powerco was sold, it was set up to relieve ratepayers of the pressure of rate increases. That's right from day one. That still exists today. Is it the right thing to do? Personally, I think it is, because that was the original intent. If we didn't have that money coming in, if we had a bad year or a couple of bad years, the PIF fund accommodates that. It's designed to run over a rolling 10-year average, so it's designed to deliver that amount every year. Does that mean to say we have to keep doing it? It's budgeted. If it wasn't in our budget, we would have to reduce services to keep the rates down. So that's actually what we do during this process. We go to the long-term plan process and we have conversation about, have we got the right mix of services for the money that we're spending? So one of the things I'd just like to say to everybody very clearly today is this year we've started the long-term plan process, and the instruction has gone out very differently than other years. The instruction to all the department managers has been, go away and don't come back and tell us how much more money you need. Come back and tell us how much you can deliver for a lesser percentage this year. So we've put a percentage number on that for the staff to have a look at. I'm not going to quote it here today because it's quite a tough percentage, but for the first time a council has gone away and said, don't come back and tell us how much extra money you want. Come back and tell us how much less you can do the works for that you're doing currently. Tony, you just put that cord across the camera there. So for the first time, things have changed internally, and that's a clear message that's been delivered to the staff by the finance team here. So we'll see where that comes through our next long-term plan process and what that number looks like. Did I describe that well? Or did I waffle?
Oh, a bit of both. No, I think the PIF, if we didn't have the PIF funds, well then we'd be charging higher rates, or to maintain service, or reducing service.
Reducing the services,
Yeah.
yeah. To the tune of $11 million, which is 7% actually. That's a big decrease. The next question here is from Snow. Are we going to keep running the Len Centre at a loss? And this is why I asked Moira to come in today. Costing ratepayers $120,000 a week, or is there a plan to make it pay for itself? So the Len Centre, which is the eternal gift that keeps on giving, if it was up to me, purely simply up to me today, if I could get a pen and I could go 120k, no more, we're going to do it for 50k. If I could say that and do that, I probably would. But I can't. The simple fact of it is that this has been established for a long time and it's got into an operating mode. So the opportunity now is for everybody to say, in the long-term plan process, to come in and say, we value the Len Centre, we believe the cost of running it should equate to 50,000 or 100,000 or 500,000 a week. Whatever it is, if you don't come and make your voice very clear through the long-term plan process, you don't give us anything to work with. So please, if you want to have an outcome that is different than what it is now, you need to make a submission through the long-term plan process, which is coming up. It's just started the engagement. And there's not one of us that wants to spend that much money every week. I'll just be clear also, part of that is the operational costs of the council itself put onto Len Centre. It's not all Len Centre running costs.
I think I just want to make a comment there, and that is we don't expect our libraries or our museums to pay for themselves. So there is a social requirement that we provide these sorts of services.
But there's also an argument that the Len Centre is a elitist art.
Well, I'm not arguing the fact that it's too expensive to run, and we definitely need to look at that. I think I'm really heartened by there's a new team at Len now and at the museum, and they are very open to looking at how they reduce costs. And as Max has said, they've actually been told they're going to have to. So you will certainly see some reduction in expenses as we go forward. And again, you can influence it, but what I would say is you cannot expect any art gallery that's community owned to fund itself. That's just that's not realistic. And if we did that, we wouldn't have any libraries, we wouldn't have any museums. So I think we need to be a little bit practical. But that is not to say that we should not be making some significant cost reductions.
Shall we talk about the art and storage?
Yeah, so there's a lot of art and storage. And I think, so I'm a member of the Gavette Brewster Foundation, so our membership helps purchase new art. There's a lot of art and storage, and again, Max and I did a tour of that a month or so ago with the new director, and I think it's fair to say we were heartened with her
The number of boxes.
Oh yeah, and her enthusiasm though for making sure that art gets out of storage and into display. So I do feel that there are some things starting to happen, and
I was
certainly-
excited by the opportunity to sell some.
yeah, and I think there was some agreement there as well. That
I
some of
know,
it should be
I know.
sold.
So-
So yeah, there's stuff happening, but Max is right. You've got to advocate through the long-term plan process as well.
I think there's a balance, right?
Yep.
There's been a report put out that council have got $25 million worth of art sitting in storage. Actually, that's outrageous.
Yep.
For when we are at a time when everyone's struggling to pay for everything, to have that art sitting there, the question needs to be how much of it will ever see the light of day again in our art gallery. So if it's never going to see the light of day again, then the time is to go through and be objective about it and say, we could raise some money from this and we could relieve some
It's
costs.
not growing in value either.
So I think I'm correct in saying that when the Monica Brewster Foundation was established, the trust deed requires that money is used to display contemporary art. And of course, so contemporary is a certain period of time, right? So once you go past that time, then that art theoretically is not available for display. So if I'm correct, then there's obviously room to have a look at the trust deed as well. Or if in fact that art cannot be displayed because of the requirements, you're quite correct. We should be looking at how we can move
Recycle it.
Yep, definitely.
Would there be collectors that would buy old contemporary art?
Oh, definitely. I mean, there's a few very valuable pieces in there. There's also quite a lot that's just scribblings of known
Careful,
artists.
careful.
No, it is literally their scribblings before they've actually got to the point of producing a piece of art. And so those have been bequeathed to us. So you'd question whether we want to continue to hold those.
Right.
Because obviously it's the cost of storage, right?
And insurance.
Yep.
Let's get to the cost of insurance because that's actually an operational cost,
Yep.
and council fund the cost of insurance. So if we've got art that we're keeping just for the sake of keeping it,
Yep.
that's never going to see the light of day, that is costing us money every month, every year. Do we just say actually that's a line through that?
Special air conditioning.
So-
It's not just a,
Well, you're always going to have some form of special air conditioning and things because you're always going to
Yeah.
be maintaining some storage, art and storage. But I think the message I'd like to get across is that there is an enthusiasm from within officers, by officers, to actually look at how we do things
It's time,
differently.
right?
Yep.
It's time.
And they 100% accept that we cannot continue funding at this level.
So Snow, I think the short answer is yes, we're aware of this and we're looking at it and we get an answer through this coming long-term plan process that won't kick into effect until next year because we can't just put a line through it today. Like I say, if it was up to me I would, but I can't. So we'll go through the process properly. Next year we will have an answer on that. Bogan Triumph, is that? I don't think that's your real name, Bogan Triumph. Is any ratepayer money being used in the TSB Heartland legal battle? Absolutely not. Zero ratepayer money being used in that legal battle, guaranteed. Some couple of questions here around graffiti, 90,000 a year. Yep, actually, you know what? If we could get those kids and we could give them a little bit of a tickle up in their attitude to spraying rattle cans of paint around town, I'd love to do that, but we're not allowed to do that. If you know that you've got kids that are spraying, can you please ask them to stop? That'd be really good, actually. 90 grand of ratepayers' money going around cleaning up after these people. Just stop.
Well, it's interesting because we had that fabulous graffiti exhibition there
That's
last
different.
year. Yeah, exactly, where graffiti artists came in and they did some very cool decorations on walls and things. So if these kids are actually really genuine about wanting to become meaningful in terms of graffiti, come along and use the right process.
And Brenda here has made a note, there's graffiti on the corner of Devon and Liarda for over 2 years.
We can't place that, right? We were
No.
trying to figure out where that was.
Well, how old would that Google Zoom that you've done been? That would.
that'd be less than 2 years, but I couldn't find it.
No.
Brenda, can you maybe, if I don't get out there today or tomorrow and get to have a look, can you please send me a picture through of that to my MPDC email address? Mark. Hello, Mark. When will the intimidation and mischief in the CBD and library be stopped? Mark, I've asked you before, I have welcomed you to come into this office and we will sit down with the staff and you can bring your ideas forward. So please, I can't give you a definitive answer on this, and I'm aware that you've got some very good ideas. Bring them in. Send an email in. You know my email address. Make a request for a time. I'll get you an hour with senior staff and let's work through it. Your points are well made, and I'm aware that you've got some good ideas, so we would welcome you to bring them inside this building in this office. Please make an appointment. Right, parking meters. I love parking meters. I love a good parking meter, don't we? So last month we had a paper come before us with some options, multiple options to change the parking meter regime in town. To be fair, there weren't very many elected members that liked any of the answers that were put in front of them. So we lay that paper on what's called lay the paper on the table, which basically now the staff have been instructed to go away and do some more work and bring forward an option that council would be happy to support. Is that a good summary?
Absolutely.
And that work has started and it's underway. So question here from Stephen, can the council introduce 60 minutes of free parking for the foreseeable future? That's one of the things we've asked the staff to look at, Stephen. And then we'll get the options put in front of us and we will decide as a council. A question here from Brett, why are the parking meters so difficult to use when they're wet? Because it's modern technology and they don't like wet off water on the screens. They've put some little hoods over them to try and stop that. Again, if we have a different model of parking where there's some free, 1 hour or 2 hour or 30 minutes, whatever that look like, which is what you talk about in this question, that would also eliminate the need to use parking meters. So look, we've asked for some very radical models of what was put forward on those papers, and the staff have gone away to do some work on that to come back to our next meeting in September.
Less art for free parking.
Sorry?
Less art for free parking.
Maybe if you had art in town, people would come and park more.
Use those buildings.
Question from Lois. Will the public be involved in the debate on Tim Tams next month, or will it just be councillors? Well, let's talk about Tim Tams, shall we? We haven't talked about
not?
Tim Tams for a couple of weeks. So, as of today, a survey has been put up on the council website, probably on social media too, if I went and had a look, and it's about the trial section from Morley Street to Belt Road and asking for people's feedback. You will see on that survey that there is no ability to have a comment. Right, now that is done deliberately for a reason, and the reason is simply this, that people who, if you comment on there, you feel that it's taken as official feedback. It isn't. So what we've done is we've disabled the comments and we're asking you to go and do the proper survey. The survey closes on the 30th of August, and there's been some councillors have had some input into the survey this time. It's not just a survey that's been put together randomly, and hopefully we're going to get some good objective feedback, and that will allow us then to make a decision in our October meeting, because the trial period runs till the 30th of September. That will give us some options around what the future of that corridor looks like, not just there but right through to the Barrett Road corner. Got anything you want to add to that, Maura?
No, and I think then we can, when we understand what we're going to do, and also obviously cost, right?
The cost.
I think that's because that was the stumbling block originally, was that the cost couldn't be supported. There was no way that they could give us a breakdown of information. So I, for one, put my hand up and say I voted against actually doing the removal because I think we'd only been 2 weeks into council.
Same thing, less art.
But most importantly, we were committing to $1.3 million of expenditure without actually having a decent
so
breakdown.
that was part of the trial. Was I had some serious doubts as to the cost, which is why we did what we did. Now we've done those different pieces of work on what that whole corridor might look like. We have got the ability to do really, really accurate costing, and a big part of the cost of that trial period section down there was fixing up that cock up at the lights at Morley Street, taking out that concrete that they should never have put in there to start with. So it's really important that you fill out the survey. If you don't fill out the survey and you don't get the outcome you want, don't come moaning anymore.
Yeah, I was just gonna say,
we're doing
don't
our best
complain.
here.
Yep.
You know, the survey is a really, really important part of this. You would have seen there's a certain councillor has been going up and down that road doing videos and putting up. That's not the official survey. That's his pet. Am I allowed to say that?
Video footage doesn't lie.
I know it doesn't, but it's only a snapshot of the day. What's really important is that you fill out the survey. Really, really important. I love Tim Tams. Look like I eat a few too, right?
Apparently you can comment on the survey.
Online,
Apparently you can.
they turned it off.
They told us this morning that they were.
You know, someone's just.
Someone said it, but I haven't had a look yet.
Okay.
So we
I think
don't
as
know
at
what
this
you-
morning they were planning to turn it off, right?
Don't comment on the survey. Well, comment on the survey. Comment on the online, but please fill out the survey.
Because that's the only thing that's going to be taken
Did you
notice
try
of.
and comment on it?
Yeah, there are boxes to comment.
Okay, well they haven't taken that down.
That's funny.
We were told this morning that that was
By a councillor.
by council.
Yeah, a councillor complained that you couldn't comment on the survey. It said in the post that comments were turned off too. Oh, left hand, right hand.
But I think the critical thing there is to realise that unless you actually fill in the survey, your comments are not going to be
No, they're
taken
not
any notice
noted.
of.
No,
so
they're not
you
taken
must
into
do the
account.
survey.
Yeah, they don't count. Jane, why is Moa Street in Inglewood be done with plant mix, hot mix, and Rada Street hasn't? I don't know, Jane. Can you send me an email query in so I can forward that to the roading team and ask that question properly? And if you've got the street address numbers, maybe? I haven't been out there this last few weeks.
Where does the heavy traffic go through?
Well, I would have thought it does go through there.
Through Moa Street
Mm.
or Rada Street?
Can I just clarify? So you can't actually comment on the Facebook post on the council's Facebook.
Oh, okay. So
you
you,
can on the survey itself.
yes. So let's just go back on that. So on the Facebook posts of that survey, you can't comment on Facebook. Yeah, thanks, Tony.
You can on the survey itself.
But you can on the survey. So when you fill out the survey, you can put your own comments in. There's a comment box for all the questions, multi-choice questions. But on Facebook, you can't. The comments have been turned off on Facebook. Hannah, can I get a follow-up on the noise complaints against the Pistol Club? I want to know how one local bloke was able to run up such a big bill with vexatious litigation. How can we close this gap? That's what's happened under the Resource Management Act. That's one of the reasons the government are looking at the Resource Management Act and throwing most of it in the rubbish bin. It's too late in this instance, but it's recognised that it's a flaw in the system. Courtney, what are you going to do about the staff and councillors who don't even read the proposals that come across the table? Was that the exact wording of that?
Yeah, there are no specific.
How would one know whether a council? I
It
presume you're
might
assuming.
appear from some of the questions that
Yeah, I
get
was
asked.
just going to say, we assume maybe councillors are. Staff are certainly across their papers because
Maybe-
they've got to put them up and have
Yeah.
some pretty rigorous questioning. But
Well, sometimes the staff can't answer the questions because...
that doesn't necessarily mean to say they've read the paper. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Look, if a councillor doesn't read the paper, if you feel like they haven't read the papers in front of them, at some point there's a thing called election which will shake them out next election. But by and large, I'm pretty happy with what the councillors have been doing. I think they've done a pretty good job so far this term with being on top of the subjects. Sometimes there might be a question that a councillor asks that was in the paper. I can see when it's 200, 300, 400 pages long how it's easy to miss a little bit of detail sometimes. It's better than last term. We regularly had agendas that were over 1,000 pages. That was diabolical. Apparently it was transparent though. 1,000+ pages to read. Question from Joe on LNG. Look, DIA, the government are going to decide what they do on the LNG. It's not us. There's probably be some consenting stuff that we'll have to go through, but if it meets the consenting rules and it gets over the line with the government, they'll progress it. It's a government thing.
So we were at a pre-election presentation or debate the other night with all of the major parties there, And I think one of the comments that was made is that as soon as the LNG proposal was mentioned, the forward price of power fell significantly. Am I correct?
Yeah, well, I don't know if you could attribute it entirely to that.
Well,
Maybe it's not a cold winter.
You know, that's sort of they were politicians, but they were relating it to the fact that the announcement
I think,
had a significant impact.
I think realistically, if you understand why do we need LNG? Why are we talking about the need to have LNG? It's because we have a lack of gas. Why do we have a lack of gas? Because on April the 18th, I think it was April the 18th, April the 12th, 2018, a decision was made to stop offshore prospecting for oil and gas. Rightly or wrongly, actually I think it was wrong. You can't just make that decision on the fly. It's had a huge impact on this country, on our gas, on our energy costs, on everything that we do, factory closures, job losses. So if you boil it down, if that hadn't happened, we wouldn't need to be talking about LNG. So the other solution to that is and is this happening, exploration.
Yeah, but also renewables. But the thing with renewables, they're not just suddenly going to come on stream and be sufficient to replace any fall off in oil and gas, right? So that they've all got to be working
But
alongside of each
renewables
other.
can't fuel everything.
No.
It's electricity.
Yep.
And we're already around 90% renewables in this country. We're higher than any other country in the world. We've shot ourselves in the foot. So LNG will go through a rigorous process, at which point it will either progress or not. And safety, as I understand it, will be a big part of that process, engineering, design and safety.
And as you say, it's not a decision of council. It's a decision of central government.
That's right. Have you been... Question here around the Waitara transfer station. The cost. Have you been out there lately?
I've never been out there, no. There's no need for me to go out there. But
Lee, I'm going to go and do a
drive.
well, I'll go out there and have a look at that cost out that. I don't even know who runs that.
I thought people thought we were expensive. Our transfer station in New Plymouth, so
Well, it is ours, but it's not. It's run by a contractor. Spare me. A question here from Robin. Can I get assistance with a free building to run my free op shop? I don't think so, Robin. So I can continue giving items away and helping the community save money. Maybe you could give us some more context around that, Robin. But I can't sit here and say I'll give you a free building. Have you heard that?
no. But I mean, there are community buildings that that can be made available. So I would have thought.
I don't think we don't have any community buildings.
But we've got our community services people that could
Well, that
probably help steer
looks-
Robin in the right direction.
We have.
Yeah. So maybe that would be the best thing.
Flick an email into us, Robin. I'll send it on to the community development team. They are a bit understaffed at the moment. They're down 2 people, I think, right now. It might take a little bit longer than we would normally hope.
Yeah.
Hospice do this, right?
Well, hospice don't give away free stuff; they sell it.
Yeah.
No, I think if Robin can make contact with our community services
Would you like
team-
to pick that up?
Yeah, sure.
Robin, get hold of Moira. She'll help you front that in the first instance. Congratulations, Moira. Thank you for
It's
coming.
my pleasure, Robin. Look forward to hearing from you.
Question from Shelley, what is happening with Kmart? Kmart are going through their diligence process. I had a meeting with them. They're very interested in coming to New Plymouth. They want a very specific site, and as yet they haven't identified it, but they do have a couple of good options that they thought they might go away and have a look at. It won't be a 5-minute process for them to decide that, and they will let us know in due course. But right now, Council have offered to work actively with Kmart to assist them to get a site set up here when they come back with a request. Question from Grant. Is the sports sub on time and more importantly on budget? I believe so, Grant. Yes, I haven't heard otherwise. So if I had, I would be able to. I don't. Have you got more questions popping in here?
That's the last one. That's 20.
Grant, I believe it is. If it changes, I will jump on their toes. Question here from Chris. Are the older trees along Devon Street West across from the Huatoki east of Braham Street still to be removed? If so, when is it happening? I believe they are. It comes down to the money, and I think there's some in the plan for this year, but I don't know if it's those ones specifically.
Is that part of the downtown sort of beautification project?
Yeah. That's quite a specific question, Chris, about Devon Street West, east of Brown. So I need to check the detail on that for you, mate. Right, with that, we're at 12:31. Thank you for coming, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming, Moira. Thank you for coming, Councillor Chong. Bring some insight from the cheap seats on the sidelines. See you next week. Cheers.